Have you noticed the big new scanners and the new pat-downs at major airports across the country? I have, and I decided to do more research about them. The TSA, or Transportation Security Administration, will be installing 1,000 new machines of these types over the next 2 years, costing approximately $160 million, says DeLiscio, who wrote an article over it called Airport Security and Body Scanners. Today I'm going to be talking to you about why I find them too intrusive, why I don't think they work efficiently, and what we can do better. Airport security is something I've always found interesting, so I decided to do more research on these new scanners and pat-down procedures. My first point about the intrusiveness is that I feel like there is no need for the feeling of vulnerability caused by the use of these full-body scanners when general, less detailed images would adequately suffice. The images shown here are what the TSA employees will be seeing as you walk through the scanner. As you can see, they're quite detailed, and I don't feel this amount of detail would be necessary to catch a weapon or a bomb, which could easily be detected through a metal detector or the baggage detection. DeLiscio also states that the full body images are quite sharp and can provide detailed images of the external body, including private areas. Fuller of the Christian Science Monitor states that the costs of the scans have been reported from every corner of the internet. Stories are emerging of TSA officers commenting inappropriately on scans and of passengers reporting their pat-downs as sexual assault. One passenger named Celeste, a victim of rape and a frequent flyer, tells her encounter with the TSA security measures. I said I didn't want them to see me naked, and the agent started yelling opt out. They took me aside and said they would have to pat me down. An agent told me he was going to touch my genitals and asked if I would rather just go through the scanner. I was in shock. I kept saying I didn't want any of this to happen. Since Celeste didn't agree to go through the scanner, her extensive pat-down procedure began. He started at one leg and then ran his hand up my crotch. He cupped and patted my crotch with his palm. Other flyers were watching. At that point, I closed my eyes and started praying. He also cupped and then squeezed my breasts, touched my face, touched my hair, stroking me. That was when I started crying. It was so intimate, so horrible. I feel like I was being raped again. There was no way I was going to fly again. This was taken from the PNC newspaper of Minnesota. As you can see, the current measures of security taken are causing a multitude of problems with the passengers being forced to abide by them and are clearly becoming a matter of personal privacy and violation. This could be easily fixed by just continuing the use of metal scanners and chemical residue tests by allowing passengers to opt out of the full-body scanners unless given otherwise probable cause. My second point is that there has been research shown that the full-body scanners haven't been working efficiently. Core, a journalist in Idaho, states that the new screenings were rushed into practice in response to a passenger smuggling a bomb in his underwear onto a Northwest Airlines flight last Christmas. But according to the report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the scans might not have even detected that bomb. So obviously, if it couldn't detect a bomb, if it is said to not be able to detect a bomb, then what would make us think that it could detect one now? It remains unclear whether the ATI scanners would have been able to detect the weapon of Mr. Abud Olmatolab, I'm sorry, I definitely mispronounced that, used in his attempted attack, says a March report from the Government Accountability Office. Other countries have also stopped using the scanners that they were given. Fuller also states that Italian security officials stopped using the scanners in September. They stated that we didn't get good results from the body scanners during testing. Says Vito Reggio, the president of Italy's aviation authority. He describes the scans as slow and ineffective. British scientists also found that the scanners picked up shrapnel and heavy wax and metal, but missed plastics, chemicals, and liquids, reported the UK newspaper The Independent in January. The consensus of these pat-downs and full-body scanners, I have a graph that shows people's consensus. Not very many people are opposed to the scans, but when they're then forced to go to the pat-downs. And as you can see, about 50% of the people are opposed to getting one of these pat-downs. So if it doesn't work and more people are complaining about them, then why are we still using them? I think we can do better. Systems such as spot detection, also known as screening of passengers by observation technique, is one of the programs we currently have to help detect people that would be listed on the no-fly list or looking for signs such as nervousness or irrational behavior that would lead to believe that they would need to have the extensive pat-down or the scans. I believe that people that fit this bill should be the ones that are being scanned and pat down, not people just trying to go on vacation. Money shouldn't be used on this. As you can see, we're using $160 million on it. I believe that we should continue our practices with the spot detection and with keeping our no-fly list and our watch list up to date. Though I know some people are opposed. One of the objections is that you don't have to fly. Flying is a right. Therefore, in purchasing a ticket, you give up your right to the Fourth Amendment. Some also say that passengers should accept the minor discomfort that comes with each search in order to ensure a safer duration of flight. That flying is a luxury and some passengers are required for business, core states that as far as the claim that people can just not fly, a lot of people do have to fly. Lots of people travel for their employment, and I'm sure they're not willing to give up their jobs, especially in an economy like this. What TSA is doing right now is giving people an intolerable choice: either submit to overly invasive groping or to a visual strip search. And to the comment about people choosing not to give up their rights, they should not be punished. TSA.gov admits that it has been secretly punishing passengers for refusing to go through the invasive whole-body scans with an even more intrusive, aggressive pat-down, and that soon those more invasive pat-downs will creep from airport to airport. So basically, they're not giving you a choice. You either go through this highly detailed scan, and if not, then you're forced to go through the even more extensive search, which I believe neither should be options, and that unless you give the airport probable cause that you need to be checked more efficiently, then there should be no reason for you to. Overall, I believe TSA security searches are unconstitutional and should not be conducted unless given obvious cause to do so. Not every passenger has to be screened at the highest level without posing a probable threat to security. The scanners have also shown a great deal of problems, such as delaying flights and not working to the best of their claimed ability, proving to be a waste of the passenger's time. Though some argue that if you want to deal with the TSA searches, you can just choose not to fly. As we already looked at, that's sometimes not an option for people and shouldn't be made a no-option situation for those type of passengers. Therefore, we should stop relying on this technology to detect terrorists and threats, but further and expand the use of programs such as SPOT and BDO, also known as body detection officers, and train them to the best of their ability to suspect suspicious behavior and activity without causing unnecessary problems. Now that you too have been informed of the problems of these procedures, I hope you'll think twice about consenting to either of these procedures without first knowing your rights.